We received a call recently from a client of ours. They were in the process of acquiring the assets of a company out of bankruptcy, and the transaction was taking place in Canada. Our client was already in due diligence and asked us to examine the real estate that was associated with the M&A transaction. They were looking to identify opportunities to uncover hidden liquidity, eliminate risk, and basically enhance the overall transaction. Because of the real estate transaction we negotiated, we improved the profitability of our client's business acquisition, the M&A transaction, by approximately $10 million. By restructuring the lease that was associated with that acquisition, and by doing so during due diligence, before they closed on the transaction itself, our client was able to occupy a more operationally efficient facility without moving. Not having to move was a real benefit in this case because there was a large component of the facility that was heavy manufacturing. So moving large machinery and large operational equipment would have been incredibly costly, and not having to do so was a real coup in this case. Our client was able to secure a new lease document that was more favorable than the one that they would have acquired had they not addressed real estate. And also the fixed costs associated with the transaction were reduced as well. Being from outside that local market permitted us to create a lot of value for our client. We've been called diplomatically aggressive by our clients, and we use that to our clients' benefit time and again. See, we don't represent landlords or developers anyway, companies that are in the business of real estate. So in this case, we were outsiders, and because we don't acquiesce to landlord overtures anyway, even in our local market, there were no favors, no relationship opportunities, no nothing on which a local property owner could play as a means of achieving or attempting to achieve more favorable terms either from us or from our client. We were able to conclude a transaction that financially and operationally exceeded our client's overall objectives. This transaction was truly a global transaction. We operated in 4 countries, basically. The local headquarters of our client is located here in the Northeast United States. Their parent is located in Central Europe. One of the senior team members of our client during the transaction was located in another European country, and the property itself is located in Canada. So not only from a transaction execution perspective, but from a planning and a communications perspective, we were managing global communications in 4 countries at a time. It was pretty exciting and very interesting as well. The major piece of real estate on which we focused included a lease that was twice as long in terms of years as our client's corporate standard permitted. In addition, the lease contained unfavorable terms, a lot of restrictions, above market rents. It was an ugly document, and it contained twice as much space as our client needed to run an efficient and profitable operation. So with twice as much space for twice as long as our client's corporate policies permitted, the real estate was basically 4 times larger than what they really needed. Risk in this case was an essential component not only of planning but also of execution. Had our client not engaged us to look at liquidity and risk issues, the overall transaction would not have been nearly as efficient or profitable as they had hoped for. Moreover, because we took apart the original lease document and strongly recommended that they scrap that document and pursue a new document, which we ultimately achieved, we were able to eliminate a number of risk items from the overall transaction to our client's benefit. There were certain challenges associated with this project that we found very interesting. I mentioned a few moments ago about the fact that we were communicating in 4 different countries. Thank goodness, all English-speaking countries. But additionally, we encountered some other challenges. We had to deal with international law. We had to deal with bankruptcy law in Canada, which is similar but different in many respects than what we're used to here in the U.S. Moreover, the landlord who owned the building that our client was acquiring a lease in, or I should say the operations in, that landlord expected that our client would acquire the previous lease, irrespective of how ugly it was, and that they would just adhere to those terms. That would have been very favorable to that landlord. Interestingly enough, even our client's Canadian bankruptcy attorneys assumed that they would have to acquire that lease, and they counseled our client that the only alternative was to accept that lease, despite it being very costly, above market, and twice as much space and twice the term. We very quickly demonstrated to our client's bankruptcy attorney and to our client that there were other opportunities, and that we were there to achieve those opportunities and solve the problem for our client. One of the most exciting components of the project was that the preferred transaction, the transaction we eventually completed on behalf of our client, ordinarily would take 6 to 9 months. It had to be completed in less than 60 days. The 60 days was the same time period that during which our client had to focus on its M&A due diligence. So we were given a very short window. We were instructed to take a 6 to 9 month transaction process and compress that down into 60 days. And we had to accomplish our client's objectives without tipping our client's hand either to the landlord or to the local real estate market at large. It was very exciting and very interesting process. I'm proud to say that we accomplished our client's objectives and in fact exceeded them. Our client has told us that they're extremely happy with having improved the value of their M&A transaction by about $10 million. They've told us they very much appreciate our performance. We're glad to have represented them.